In an abandoned factory, two alpha robotic police officers are arresting a group of criminals. However, the criminals they are capturing are not ordinary people, but a group of superhumans. However, their superpowers are laughably limited. They can neither fly nor burrow into the ground. Each person only has one ability, and its range is limited to their immediate vicinity. The reason for their arrest traces back to a theft. 2 years ago, due to a genetic mutation, a small portion of the human population underwent mutations, gaining superpowers that were abnormal for ordinary people. Some could manipulate lightning or fire, and others could control thoughts. However, these abilities were greatly limited. Beyond a certain range from themselves, the superpowers would become ineffective. The mayor of Lincoln City saw potential in these uniquely gifted individuals. He gathered these superhumans, trained them intensively, and utilized their abilities to fight crime and develop the city. Initially, everything was normal, and the superhumans were assigned to roles that suited their strengths. However, good times did not last. As technology advanced, the jobs of superhumans were gradually replaced by machines, leading to their unemployment. With nothing to do, they gathered together and began engaging in criminal activities. Due to the special nature of the superhumans, local gangs were quickly taken over. A new type of hallucinogen called SEK also appeared on the market, which was cheaper than ordinary flour but very effective. To eliminate SEK, conflicts arose between superhumans and the police, but ordinary people were no match for the superhumans. To combat the superhumans, the authorities spent $4.5 billion in 2.5 years to develop a type of robotic police named Alpha. These were highly intelligent robots that could execute law enforcement without human control. With the help of the robotic police, superhumans in the city were quickly cleaned up. However, the violent enforcement of the robotic police raised people's concerns. At the slightest resistance, the robotic police would shoot to kill, regardless of whether the person was a criminal. Facing public scrutiny, the police had no choice but to reduce the number of robotic police and replace them with a type of robotic dog researched for 2.5 years. These dogs did not have lethal weapons, but they were very agile and would launch attacks if they detected something wrong. However, if the attacked person raised both hands, the robotic dogs would stop attacking. However, the weaker robotic dogs gave the superhuman gangsters a chance to breathe. In a narrow alley, a man was being brutally beaten by several superhumans. The man's name was Jack, and he was a superhuman, but his superpower was somewhat redundant. He had the ability of a chameleon to change his body's color. Originally, Jack had been running errands for the gang, but because his superpower was too useless, he was despised by the boss, Garrett, and after 3 months, not only was he not made a regular member, but he was also kicked out of the gang. Faced with bullying, Jack was angry but dared not speak out. Reluctantly, he sneaked into the gang, intending to steal goods to exchange for money, but he accidentally heard Garrett ordering 2 subordinates to deliver a sum of money. Hearing the amount, Jack instantly became spirited. He quietly followed the 2 to a hidden corner, saw them put the money into a trash can, and leave. Following them, Jack pried open the lid and took the money, but just as he was about to leave, a car suddenly drove by. In the chaos, Jack hid in a corner, but he did not know that this money was not ordinary money. The person who came to get the money turned out to be the police chief, but after his subordinates searched for a long time, they found that the box was empty. Looking up, they happened to see Jack in the corner. Discovering that his money had been stolen, the police chief immediately released the robotic dog, and a man and a dog chased in the streets. But how could Jack possibly outrun a machine? In panic, he ran into an abandoned warehouse, locked the main door, and blocked the robotic dog outside. Desperate, the robotic dog had to give up. Seeing the pursuing robotic dog leave, Jack thought the other party had given up, but just as he was about to count the money, the robotic dog appeared from behind. It turned out that there was another side door not far away. Cornered, Jack activated his superpower, blending himself and his surroundings into one. His color changing indeed deceived the police dog, but just as Jack was about to leave, the police dog appeared again. It directly fired a stun gun, causing Jack to lose the ability to move. Jack quickly raised his hands to surrender. According to design, the police dog should have stopped, but unexpectedly, the police dog injected a tube of milky liquid into Jack. This liquid was the so-called SEK, and if injected in excess, it could cause death. Injected with SEK, Jack showed a painful expression and eventually fell dead on the street. But who knew? This scene was seen by a passing girl. The girl's name was Lisa, Jack's sister. Discovering the situation had collapsed, the police dog charged towards the girl, but who knew that Lisa was also a superhuman? When the police chief arrived with people, the police dog's circuit board had been damaged. An old black extracted the recorder. Discovering Lisa's existence, According to design specifications, the robotic police dog could withstand attacks from level 5 superhumans, but the little girl just screamed, and the police dog was scrapped, showing that the opponent's superpower must be very strong. To prevent his own black money dealings from being exposed, the police chief put the girl on the wanted list, but the police searched the whole process. Yet Lisa's whereabouts were never found. The police's search made the city's superhumans very nervous. Just released from prison, Connor found a job as a cleaner, but just as he started, he found Lisa in the warehouse. Naturally, Connor knew that Lisa was a wanted person, but as one of the superhumans, he did not betray her. He found Aunt May, who was also a superhuman. Learning that the police were looking for someone here, Aunt May was also a bit surprised. She told Connor to take the girl out through the back door, but who knew, the two were still discovered by the camera. Connor had just taken the girl home when the police followed closely behind. Lisa also sensed the arrival of the police. Hearing the reminder, Connor hurriedly took Lisa out through the back door, but just as the two came out, a drone deployed 2 alpha robotic police officers. As a former fighter against robotic police officers, Connor naturally knew how formidable the opponent was. He did not hesitate and immediately launched the level 5 superhuman's thunder lightning power. Although Connor was a level 5 superhuman, his ability could only temporarily paralyze the robotic police officers. Lisa also launched her superpower, causing the drones in the sky to lose control. The two who escaped capture found Garrett, who used to be Connor's good brother, but due to some reasons, the two had parted ways. Considering many years of friendship, Garrett agreed to help Lisa leave, but before leaving, he had to erase all memories because only in this way could the police chief be reassured. To escape pursuit, Lisa had no choice but to agree. Garrett took the two to a friend named Mary, whose superpower was memory erasure. But what Connor did not expect was that Mary erased all memories related to Jack. It turned out that Garrett had no intention of letting Lisa go at all. Knowing that Lisa could paralyze the robotic police dogs, he planned to have Lisa join the gang. Over the years, they had been oppressed by the police chief. To buy peace, he had to hand over half of his income to the police chief every month. If Lisa's ability could be enhanced, then they would not need to fear the robotic police officers. Connor discovered something was wrong just as he was about to stop it, but he was held down by 2 of Garrett's subordinates. But Garrett obviously underestimated Connor's ability. He released 100,000 volts, directly stunning Garrett's 2 lackeys. Looking at Connor, whose eyes were emitting blue light, Garrett did not dare to act rashly. Connor took the opportunity to escape with Lisa. He found Aunt May, hoping she could help send Lisa out of town, but just as the 3 of them set off, the police and Garrett also brought people to chase them. They were blocked at an abandoned factory. Since they could not have her, they could only destroy her. Garrett wanted to kill Lisa, but Connor stopped him. Just as Garrett was hesitating, the police chief issued a kill order, and Garrett's 2 subordinates were killed on the spot, and even he was shot in the shoulder. Seeing that the robotic police officers were actually attacking him, Garrett completely recognized the reality. To buy time for Connor and others, Aunt May took the initiative to step forward. Her superpower, the Golden Bell Shield, could block bullets, but this ability had a time limit. Aunt May used herself to attract firepower, while Connor and Garrett took the opportunity to drive away. But just as Aunt May rushed out for 2 minutes, she was heavily wounded by the robotic police's gunfire. Fortunately, Connor and others were fast enough. Under Garrett's leadership, they found a friend named David, who was also a superhuman. But David did not dare to provoke the police chief and had no ability to send the few people away. It turned out that the reason the city's security was so good was because the police chief had used underhanded methods. The robotic dog was not as safe as the police had advertised. Once it discovered a superhuman criminal, the robotic dog would inject SEK into the criminal, causing the person to die from an overdose. Over the years, more than 100 superhumans had been killed by the police chief using this method. Hearing David's words, Lisa suddenly thought of the time the robotic dog attacked her brother, and the camera on top had recorded this scene. If they could expose the video, the police chief would definitely be ruined. But the robotic dog was in the police station, and they had no chance to access it. Just then, David thought of a method. The police chief was worried about being retaliated against by superhumans, so he also kept a robotic dog at home, and the camera was remotely connected to the system. As long as they could access it through the dog, they could retrieve the video. Hearing this, Connor and Garrett thought it was a good idea. The two disguised themselves as journalists and came to the police chief's house. The chief's wife did not recognize the two, so she let them into the house. Meanwhile, the chief also returned home. Seeing the two arrive, the chief wanted to call for support, but Garrett used his superpower to aim a fruit knife on the table at his wife. As long as the chief made any sudden moves, the knife would fly towards his wife. With no choice, the chief had to sit down and chat with the two. On the other hand, Lisa quietly slipped into the backyard. Her superpower could control electronic devices, so the task of extraction was entrusted to her. Lisa found the robotic dog, but just as she was about to access the server through the robotic dog, the server side issued an alarm. The colleague in charge of controlling the robotic dog immediately called the chief. Knowing that Garrett and others were trying to control the robotic dog, the chief no longer pretended. It turned out that he was also a superhuman, but his ability was not as strong as Garrett's. Lisa took the robotic dog back to the base and extracted the inside recordings. But who knew? Garrett betrayed them again. He let people control Connor and Lisa, intending to use the video to negotiate with the chief. But the chief did not play along. He stabbed Garrett in the waist with a knife. Following this, he ordered the police to storm the hideout and kill all the superhumans. Although the people present all had decent abilities, they were still somewhat powerless against the large number of police. Less than 10 minutes into the fight, everyone was subdued, and Connor was pinned down by the robotic dog. The opponent extended a syringe, intending to create a drug-using scene. Fortunately, Lisa did not give up on Connor. She controlled the robotic police dog and thus saved him. Coming to his senses, Connor quickly led Lisa downstairs. The female journalist they had agreed to meet also arrived nearby. But just as Lisa was about to hand over the memory card, the police chief, controlling the robotic dog, charged over. Fortunately, the seriously injured Garrett took action. He used his superpower to control the robotic dog. Lisa took the opportunity to insert the memory card into the camera. The content of the robotic dog murdering superhumans was also broadcast live on the news. Because of the indiscriminate killing, the police chief was dismissed and investigated, but the future of the superhumans still had not arrived.